Hello and welcome to another Prof episode. In this episode, we'll be talking about Dr. David J. Hume, not to be confused with the philosopher of the same name. Dr. Hume is a very impressive individual. He was the first to introduce soybeans into eastern Canada and create the agronomy that still follows to this day that allows soybeans to be acclimated to that region. He was the first to develop the means of inoculating the fields with rhizobium bacteria, and was the one specifically who selected the strains that we used in Ontario soybean production. These bacteria are so good at fixing nitrogen that it covered 70% of the soybean nitrogen requirements for the crop. It was also responsible for testing out all the products that were used to grow soybean. In essence, all soybean growing methods in Ontario are built upon the foundation that Dr. Hume had built. And I am fortunate to have had him as a professor. He was in his 80s when I had him as a professor, and was semi-retired. I'm not sure if he still lives or not, but regardless, this is a shout out to soybean yield improvement within Canada is reported to range between 0.5 and 1% annually. Such differences in yield may be due to improved agronomy or farming techniques, genetic gain, or the combination of both. Dr. Hume sought out very short-season cultivars to see what caused the improvement in yield. His goal is to see what type of traits have changed to make soybeans much more high-yielding, and various people have done so in the past. There's been heavy interest in harvest index, which is the pounds of grain divided by the total biomass of the plant. Other researchers have studied dry matter accumulation, which is the amount of dry matter created. This is the weight of the material of the plant when it's fully dried out. When all the water is removed and all that's left is starches, sugars, etc., etc. Interest in studying how that affects yield has also been done. Further interest will be leaf area index, which acts as the total leaf area of a crop. To figure out what changes have happened, 4 cultivars were subject to the same modern agronomy. The oldest cultivar known, an early season soybean cultivar of older origin, Pagoda, and a more newer cultivar called Maple Glen, a late season soybean cultivar called Mandarin, and successor, OEC Bayfield. Dry matter accumulation and leaf area index were studied for this experiment. The data was analyzed using the software package ProcMix, and the experiment took place between 1996 and 1997. And here, first, the harvest index at maturity was greater in the newer cultivars than the older ones, averaged over both maturity groups, the early season and the late season varieties. The late season cultivars overall had higher yield than the early season cultivars. From a dry matter accumulation standpoint, after the R4 stage of soybean, the newer cultivars showed greater accumulation of dry matter than the old cultivars. As a consequence, from the genetic changes from old to new, is continued carbon assimilation further into the seed formation period, where the plants are not producing new leaves, but instead are producing seeds. These results are consistent with the work by Shira and Harawasaka. I'm definitely mispronouncing those names, my apology. These two researchers observed that newer cultivars accumulated more dry matter than older cultivars, seed forming period. It was also reported in the United States by Dr. Cregan and Yakic. Trying to figure out why this happened, various researchers tested out different hypotheses. One found there was no improved CO2 uptake. A Japanese researcher by the name of Dr. Hayati in 1995 found, however, an increase in photosynthesis at the R5 stage increased yields. This was further codified by Dr. Morrison in 1999, who found that either improved photosynthesis or increased light interception during the seed formation period is a source of yield increase. Dr. Morrison created his own calculation that the increased total dry matter accumulation is the result of total dry matter at R8 plus leaf dry matter at R6. In leaf area index, the newer cultivars had a lower rate of leaf senescence than did the older cultivars. In essence, the plants stay green a lot longer. in the newer cultivars versus the older cultivars. This enables greater radiation absorption, especially when the leaf area index values are between 3 and 4, or 95% radiation interception. As a consequence, it is estimated that this improvement in leaf area index is responsible for 78% of the increased yield within soybean. This is similar to corn, where the stay green characteristic has actually aided in the production of increased yield. Finally, the improved harvest index seems to have contributed 22% of the current yield potential in modern varieties. So to conclude, the improved yield within soybeans is a result of two phenomena, predominantly speaking: improved dry matter accumulation and improved light interception. And that about covers everything. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoyed it and think you can donate, you can do so at Buy Me a Coffee, link in the description below. Thank you for watching.